welcome to the next episode of the Blind Reviews. This season, the MCU. And today, episode 4 of this adventure, we're talking about Iron Man 2. And Jake is back in our hot seat, where he deserves to be.
Don't worry, next season it's your turn, buddy.
That's true.
I was about to say next season I want to be next, but I want to be third then, I guess.
Yeah, Sims is next, and we're not telling what season 2 is.
Is there a movie series I haven't seen?
I don't know.
Probably.
We can discuss that after the
all
video.
the Dora movies?
The one?
No, a lot.
It's a lot of them, man.
I'm not watching the Dora.
So, in the hot seat.
Alrighty. So,
Expectations, correct?
yeah, well, did you have any well, of course, this came right after the first Iron Man, so
Right.
you kind of...
I think it's like 6 months later.
It says
3 months
6
later.
months is whenever.
I was going to say, I think
It
it's
picks
like
up.
6 months.
It picks up literally at the same time that it ends, but whenever it actually starts going, it's 6 months. So,
I'm going to pause this right here. Did you watch the end credit scene?
are there more than one?
There is only one.
Yes, I watched the
Okay.
end credit scene.
Making
I forgot
sure.
what it was. The Hulk one, right?
No, it's
Yeah.
Thor. It's the
Thor
Thor.
Hammer.
Thor's
Yeah,
Hammer.
Thor Hammer.
Back to it.
Expectations for the movie, kind of like I said of discussing in the last one, whenever I said, what's next for Iron Man, like I said, I would see him possibly helping the military again a little bit, because, we see what he does to the terrorists of the Ten Rings terrorist organization. If he just goes in and wrecks shop.
He fixes it.
Yeah,
Out
he
there
fixes
committing
it.
war crimes.
Yeah,
He brings peace to the Middle East.
Yeah.
He is literally committing
A
war
war
crimes.
criminal.
He
Yes.
is, yes.
That he literally makes cluster bombs. Those are straight up,
Illegal.
against like the Geneva Act or something.
Geneva Convention? Yeah. So there's, I would expect that, and also I'd expect him, like I said, improving upon his suit, which he does.
Yeah.
We can see that happening. So that's kind of what I was expecting. I really
Yeah.
didn't. I didn't see the actual plot. I really did not expect that. I kind of liked it. I think it's.
Yeah, 2 is whenever you first start seeing, when Tony has free time, he just makes another suit.
Yes, he just
Like
he improves upon
He
it.
spends time fixing his
Because
suit.
Sims, what is this? This is Mark 4. Is that correct? That he's got by the end of the movie? Because there's
I
Mark
think
1,
so.
Mark 2 is the
I-
one that.
I believe Mark 4 is the suitcase suit, right?
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
That would be Mark 4.
Yeah, because I think the Mark II one is the War Machine.
Yes, Mark 2 is the one that
It's
Rhodes
the silver
steals.
one, yeah.
Well, there's
Mark
4.
3.
There's like 4 in the background.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
And then he doesn't use those 4 during the movie, though. So
Oh, maybe Mark
the
5
one
now.
he's in
That's-
is 5.
That's
but
what I was thinking.
Suitcase
Would be-
is 5. One he's in is 6.
Yeah.
Rhodey steals 2.
Yes.
And I think by Endgame he's got like 30.
I was about to say,
he's like in
He
his
does.
30s.
He gets
No.
a lot of them.
In Endgame, there's like...
I
think
remember
it's like
there being-
50,
I
because
remember
like
there
all
being
the ones that are exploded.
I remember in the third one there being a Mark 42.
Yeah.
I remember him saying Mark 42.
Because
Mhm.
and there's also the big scene in there that we're not going to talk about right now, because that's the only one I've seen up until now.
Yeah.
That was the only Iron Man movie I'd seen. Was
Yeah.
Iron Man 3.
Let's get into what's your summary of this movie.
Okay,
I will say, like, your prediction from Iron Man 1 video leading into this. It was like,
What did you think?
it was a lot better than
It-
some of
it-
your other predictions.
Exactly
I'll
what
give
I
you a point
said,
for
pretty
this.
much. What I just said here is what were my expectations. That's kind of what I think was next for Iron Man. So, for Iron Man 2, so my synopsis of the film is, it picks up immediately where the last one left off of Iron Man is, Tony Stark outs himself as Iron Man, says who he is. In the entire time, there's this man in Russia, an elderly dying man, watching the press release, and he calls over to his son and tells him that should have been you instead of Tony Stark. So while that's going on, he goes and his father dies, that man, and he starts going through some of the things that his father had, and it is a plan for the original arc reactor that was created, or had the plans drawn by Howard Stark. So he begins working on that, and he builds his own arc reactor and channels the electricity through whips, and then he immediately starts trying to figure out how he can get to Tony.
You find out in that scene that his father helped
Build
the first
arc
Well, you
reactor.
see the
Yes.
name.
You see the name on it.
On
that
the
it was
blueprints.
on the blueprints of it was both of them. Okay, so while that's going on, Tony, you jump to 6 months later, and Tony is at his convention,
Mhm.
The Stark Expo.
Stark Expo, which is the same thing that we see in Captain America. First Avenger that Howard Stark is doing.
That was just,
And also,
that
there's
was
a very
just,
notable character that's there too, but for later in the series.
Okay.
He's still a child.
Oh yeah,
no,
yeah, yeah,
it's not in
That's
that
not
scene.
in that scene. It's later.
Well, I'm talking about in the movies too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he has his expo, and then he gets served. He is told that he is to appear before the Senate to figure out basically what to do about his suit. So Tony is asked to appear before the Senate, and they're basically trying to take his suits and weaponize, and the military just wants his suit. And he's trying his best to hold on to it to make sure that they can't take the
He
suit.
also absolutely clowns on them.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
In the entire thing.
It is pretty strange though that he would go from, yeah, I'll sell military grade weaponry
Mm-hmm.
that's on like large scale explosives
Mm-hmm.
to a part where he was like, I'm not gonna give you this thing that can shoot
Well, see,
plasma.
I feel like-
see, we discussed that in the first video on the first Iron Man. Of he had such a traumatic experience being kidnapped and everything, and then also he realizes that his weapons are not helping people; they are causing
They're
more
being
problems.
used
Well, I feel
against
like another thing is like the Stark company that made the weapons, like he kind of inherited that.
Yes,
Yeah.
He built the Iron Man suit
yes,
by himself.
and
like
he wants to keep
people
that.
in this company didn't build the suit. He
And
built it himself. It's like a child to him.
He's trying to use the suits to stop.
terrorism
and
and
stuff.
stop, just basically keep peace. He is like at this point he is a nuclear bomb essentially. It's like, okay, don't mess with us. We'll send
They
Iron
call
Man.
him a nuclear deterrent.
Yes, that's exactly what he is. So while he's at this thing, we're introduced to a competitor of his named Justin Hammer, who is attempting to also create the same suit, and he is.
Just an absolute toolbox.
I
I
absolutely
was about to
love.
say, that part is so funny to me whenever he's like, Iran, Ukraine, 10 years.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
Hammer, 20
20 years. That's so funny.
That
And-
part, I laugh at it every time. It's
The other
hilarious.
countries are all attempting to make their suit, and every single country is unsuccessful aside from one person in one country that didn't even do it for his country. He just built it himself. All right, so we also learn that Tony's suit is slowly killing him, that he has palladium.
Oh, not
Not
the
the
suit.
suit.
Oh, it's the palladium.
The core.
Yes, that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
The using the suit is slowly killing him because of the palladium that is in the arc reactor that he's
Yeah.
using to power it. And we notice that his blood toxicity is beginning to rise, and he's getting more and more sick. So we learn that that's what's slowly killing him. And he begins to prepare for that, and he automatically promotes Pepper to be CEO of Stark Industries. And they take a little trip with her, it being the first time that she is the CEO of Stark Industries. They take a little trip to, I did not write it down. I had it written down. Is it Italy?
Yeah.
I thought I wrote it down. I didn't write it down. But
In Italy? 'Cause
Oh,
trying to think
Monticello. I did write it
That's
down. They
Italy.
take a trip to Monticello.
That's Italy.
I didn't know that. To a race.
That's where those Formula One races are.
Yeah.
to a Formula One race, and Tony decides to drive the car. He's basically like
you know-
absolute baller.
he's
Do you know
he's literally
who
doing his
makes
bucket list.
One
I
of the
feel like.
coolest cameos in
Billionaire
that
Playboy.
scene.
Which one?
I know. Oh, Elon Musk is in it. Yeah,
Elon.
Elon Musk makes a cameo. That's
Elon.
also where
Peter Parker.
No.
No, that's not that scene yet.
No.
No. It's way later.
no, I was gonna say, isn't that also where
Stanley.
the Stanley
Yeah.
cameo is?
Mhm.
The cameo.
Who is he in that one? I can't remember. What is he doing?
He's just some kind of rich guy, isn't he?
I don't remember.
I think they say like.
Because he's Hugh Hefner in the first movie.
I thought he was a track attendant.
He might be.
He might have
thought he
been.
was
I think
like
that's
one
what
of
it
the-
is. I think
like
that's
one of the
yeah. I think so.
One of the bzz guys.
Yeah,
Sure.
that was
So-
the lug nut wrench.
Add that
thing.
scene in here.
Yeah. So while he
Payback,
is
that's what's called.
in the race, Ivan, who is also known as Whiplash, I thought he was
They
going to be.
never say his villain name.
Well, see, they never
in
call
the
it. They never
movie.
call Obadiah Ironmonger either.
But,
But-
in the comics, that's their,
I was giving Ivan the nickname of the Electrocutioner because I thought it was funny. But he shows up and just starts trashing the race and attempts to kill Tony. Well, Pepper and the bodyguard show up with the. I think we finally decided what is that Mark V
I
suit.
think it's
The one that's in the suitcase.
suit.
The suitcase
Suitcase
suit.
suit.
He puts it on and he fights him, and he is kind of tossed around like a rag doll a little bit, and this further hurts his argument of him saying that nobody else has this technology.
Mm-hmm.
And Ivan even says it. He says, if you can make and this is the quote, he says, if you can make God bleed, then people
will cease to believe
in him. And that's the quote.
That's an amazing quote, by the way.
So he stops Ivan, and he goes in to interrogate him, and he lets him in on the secret that his father helped Howard develop the original arc reactor. And in the midst of this, Justin Hammer goes and frees Ivan and basically gets him to build suits for him.
C4 potatoes.
Yes, with C4 potatoes, and gets them out, and he basically wants Ivan to make him another suit just like what he had in Monticello. So while that's going on, Rhodes discovers Tony's condition, about how the palladium is slowly killing him. And
nah, he doesn't know that. He says, that's a weird sci-fi crossword puzzle.
Yeah, that's a weird crossword puzzle you got there going on your chest.
Yeah. And then Ivan starts working on another suit secretly to fight Tony. He's building these drones that he's gonna show off to Justin.
Hammond hires him to work on the drones they're making.
Yeah, well, no, he originally it was going to be a suit.
To make a suit,
but Ivan makes drones. But Ivan's also building his own suit in the background. And what's so bad is that Tony literally tells him how to make the suit better. That's such a interesting thing of Tony tells him how to do it better, and then it comes back to bite him.
It's such a cocky superhero. I've got you beat. You'll never be able to use this knowledge.
It's like the super villain contrast where they monologue.
When they monologue,
yes.
It's like, here's my plan since you've already lost.
Yes. So then, what's going on is it's Tony's birthday, and he's turning. Is it
1,000 years old?
It's 30 something.
I think he's like 35.
I was about to say. And he feels it's going to be his last birthday, so he puts on the Iron Man suit and gets absolutely wasted and makes a fool of himself. And Rhodes tries to come and like talk him down and finds out that he's completely like just he's white boy wasted.
And he's got to shut it down.
And Rhodes goes and takes the Mark II suit and proceeds to fight with Tony in the middle of his house.
And they beat the brakes off of each other.
Eventually, they beat the brakes off each other.
It's one of my favorite scenes in all the movies where they both fight each other and whoop each other's butt.
And then also, we find out the deal of if you put two repulsors blasts against each other, it creates a large explosion. Mm-hmm. So then Rhodes flies off and takes...
It's the answer to, like, what happens when an unmovable object stops...
Unstoppable force.
But it's two unstoppable forces.
Yes. So then Rhodes takes it back to his military base.
It was a Naruto and Sasuke moment.
I got that anime, beam struggle.
Yeah. So Rhodes takes the Mark II suit back to the military, and they call Justin Hammer to come and start trying to manufacture a bunch of weapons to throw onto it.
Reverse engineer, I believe.
Yes, trying to reverse engineer it. So then Tony is one of my favorite scenes in the middle of the big donut, just chilling, just having him a good time, having him some coffee and donuts. And he's just, you can tell he's had a rough night because he's just there having a good time. Well, that's where Fury finds him. Mm-hmm. And Black Widow is also there. And he finds out that the new intern, or not intern, but the person that had been working for him was actually Black Widow. And, excuse me, they finally figure out why he had been acting so erratically recently, and they determine that it's because he's dying. Well, they inject him with some lithium dioxide to help with the palladium poisoning. And then they start giving him everything he needs to be able to figure out how to better power the arc reactor. So a bunch of stuff that his dad had.
Yeah, they gave him films that Howard had put in a vault.
To try and help him. Alright, so in the midst of that, the military wants to show off the suit that Rhodes has stolen, and that's whenever Justin shows up and they start figuring out what weapons and modifications they want to add to the suit.
They put the ex-wife in it.
They put the ex-wife in it.
They put all the other...
We're going to talk about that in a minute at the very end. So then... Fury gives Tony all the plans to perfect the arc reactor, and he begins working on it. So Tony...
He builds a collider in his own house.
He builds a super collider in his own house, and Tony synthesizes a new element to power the arc reactor. So Ivan double-crosses Justin and upgrades his suit, and also takes control of all of the...
He gets his bird.
He gets his bird. So, and
He gets a bird, not
Yeah,
his
a
bird.
bird.
he gets control of all of the drones and
I thought he got
everything.
his bird.
All right, so Justin goes to Stark Expo to show
don't,
off
Don't say that. That'll blow his mind.
The new-
Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
the new Mark II, otherwise known as War Machine, that Rhodes is piloting, as well as all of these drones that he has been building. And he takes control of both suits when Tony shows up, and he begins to try to destroy Tony with the drones and with War Machine's
Suit.
with War Machine suit, who he has full control of. So, in the midst of this attack, Black Widow goes to stop Vanko, but he escapes and he takes his new suit and goes to confront Tony and War Machine in the midst of the expo.
He gets clapped.
Well, they manage to defeat him, and it all ends with Tony joining the Avenger Initiative.
No.
So,
No,
They
Iron
don't
Man
have. They
joining.
don't. They don't have enough money for him.
Yeah, Iron Man joins.
Iron Man is accepted.
them
No,
joining Iron Man.
Tony is.
Tony is rejected.
No, they say like subordinate or something.
They want to hire him as a consultant.
A
is what they say.
consultant,
They tell him that
consultant.
they want him to be a
And
consultant.
then he says, "You can't afford me."
Yeah.
I didn't believe it.
Also, during that final fight,
yeah,
kinda
that's what I
glazed
say.
over, that's whenever you get to see a young Peter Parker.
Is that what that is? Is that who that is?
Yeah,
You know,
the
the-
kid-
Whenever he stops the kid, whenever the
little
kids
kid holding the
Really?
iron.
Yes,
that the
is
draw.
canon, it's
I
Peter
did not
Parker.
know that.
That's
Yeah.
little Petey.
I figure I feel like I would have learned that whenever we got
I
further on, but that's
believe
pretty
those
cool.
They,
They
they
never
don't
reference
ever
it again.
mention it.
I believe
Really?
there is also the theory that that is where he lost his Uncle Ben.
Really?
But I don't. Yeah, I think that's a theory, but I don't think that's.
That would make sense.
That's really
I mean,
cool.
because
So that's
it's
why
like
he
no
likes
one
Iron
can-
Man so much.
Yeah.
Because Iron Man literally saved him.
Yeah, and you never hear about what happened to Uncle Ben, to Tom Holland's Uncle Ben.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was about to say I don't think you ever did. Did you say how he got the plans for the new element? Did you mention that?
Yes, it was in the trunk of things that. Oh
Yeah.
well, it was in.
It-
He looks at the original Stark Expo thing
Yeah.
that he had in his office. That and I love that scene as well. Of he gets it and just puts it in the side of his car
Yeah.
and takes it
Him
back home.
driving
That's how
back
he,
down the road.
And he
is
gives
hilarious.
and he gives Pepper strawberries,
which is
she's
the one
allergic
thing
to.
she's allergic to.
And she goes,
I want.
"What's the one thing
If
I'm
somebody
allergic
wants
to?"
It's like
to fund
strawberries.
us on Patreon and give us enough money for those swing jakes things,
Yeah, I'd love them.
dude, we'll have it for every video, like front and center on the
I
table.
love how he also like sticks a box under to try and stop it, and it
Hilarious.
keeps moving. It's so funny. I'm
Yeah,
guessing is that a perpetual motion
Yeah, it's one of those
thing?
Isaac
It,
Morton
But
it always
They're
keeps
on
moving.
Amazon for $300.
What?
Oh,
Yeah, I've looked it up before
Are you
because I really
serious?
wanted
Oh
one.
my goodness.
Golly.
Yep.
I think another thing to remember about in Iron Man that Tony Stark's dad,
Mhm.
Howard Stark, in the cinematic universe, was actually a really, really smart guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like he
Right.
literally led to the eventual.
He was one of the
finding
founding members of Shield and
Yeah,
the Avenger
SHIELD.
Initiative.
He created, well, he found out that he could make that new element. He was just
He was limited by his time,
By
by
the
the
technology,
technology of his
yeah.
time.
and that's what he even says that. So that's all of the. That's my recap.
That's the story.
Yeah, that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
What'd you think
Are
about
you
it?
sure?
Yeah,
What'd you think about it?
I liked it. I mean, the first one's way better, way better.
Mhm.
As Sims was telling me, he said they're all kind of downhill from here. The Iron Man movies,
Until
but the Iron Man
movies.
The Iron
movies
Man
specifically,
movies.
not the
Yeah.
whole franchise, but the Iron Man movies. I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. I think it was a good follow up, a good sequel.
I think it was fine.
Yeah.
I
I think
I
it's-
feel like it could have had more of a spectacle to it, because you know you want to like
I'll touch on that a little bit.
you want to
In my least favorite part.
you want to ramp up, and
Mhm.
it just felt like another Iron Man movie. It just felt
Yes.
like a different Iron Man movie.
Yes.
Like,
You know,
the stakes didn't seem as high.
Yeah,
Really?
I would agree with that.
since we're talking about Nick Fury, that is actually the first time you've seen Nick Fury, I believe, and except in Captain Marvel. He's in Captain Marvel, isn't he?
He's
He's-
also
he's in Captain
and
America.
Captain America.
And he's in the first Iron
He's in
Man.
all
Well,
of them.
He's at the he's
at
in the
end
post credit
credit
scene.
Well,
Of
yeah,
Iron Man.
you know, Nick Fury. Oh God, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh yeah, you know how Samuel L. Jackson found out about Nick Fury, he walked into a comic book store and looked at a comic figurine of the rebooted Nick Fury, and he was like, "This looks like me."
I've heard that
That's
story.
funny. That's really
I have
funny.
heard that story. He walked in and was like, "That looks like me," and then he went. He heard that they were making the Marvel movies, and he was like, "Hey, I'll play Nick
I'll play
Fury."
Nick Fury. Yeah,
And then they were like, "Yeah, you got
that's
it."
funny. That's
What
funny.
a coincidence!
So I believe we're going to favorite part.
Yeah.
We're going to. All right. So favorite part of Iron Man 2. I really like the fight on the racetrack.
Mhm.
That is
That
a good part.
that is a very
That is a
That was a
good
good
scene.
like that's a great fight scene. I really like I said, I love how you see Tony fight by himself without the suit a little bit of he kind of
Yeah.
has to be a little resourceful, and he has the gasoline leaking out and he blows him up, and then I think it's funny whenever they run over Ivan and then they back up and they keep just running over him,
Happy
and
keeps
finally
running him over.
finally he gets the suit on, and he's having to deal with, like I said, getting wrapped up in the whips and everything. It's a really
I like that scene because of the suitcase suit. The
Yeah.
suitcase suit is dope.
The first time you see that,
It's the
like,
first
wow.
time you see him,
Yes.
like, he's made a mobile suit.
Yeah.
He's took what took like 20 minutes. You had to walk down an assembly line
Mhm.
to get put in the suit. He made it take 5 seconds.
Yep.
In the
Yep.
course of 6 months, he made a suitcase suit.
Yep.
That's
Also,
crazy.
another thing that I really like. I really like.
Also, I'm sorry. I think it's funny. I saw a lot of memes that are like, "What is Ivan doing when he's suiting up? Like, is Ivan just like, man, that cool, that cool?
Yeah.
All right, back on."
Well, wasn't
Now you
he?
ready.
Wait, hang on. Wasn't he pinned against the wall as he was? No, he had gotten out. Yeah, that's right. He had cut
He
it.
gets out
Well,
because
I mean,
he slices the car in half, and then
Yeah.
Pepper throws the suit out.
I mean, that's kind of like we said. That kind of goes to the Dragon Ball Z thing of they just let everybody power up.
Oh,
you know?
Honestly, if I
Just
was
waiting for
I
it.
was a villain or a superhero, I'd watch it. I'd be like, "That's
That's
cool.
pretty cool.
That is cool.
Like,
I'm not gonna take your
so
moment
that's
from you."
what I gotta
Unless
do.
it's like the Hulk. You see the Hulk start turning green,
Yeah,
you better
you
put
start-
that man down as quick as
Yeah.
possible.
You see Bruce start turning green, you better turn and you better go.
So my other
You got
favorite
about
part.
5 seconds to Ryan.
I really
far.
like the Black Widow fight scene of, like I said,
She's whooping
It's-
a hallway
See,
full of guys.
I
Yeah.
like it's
also-
kind of the same deal with Captain Marvel of, like I said, I love the choreography. I like the fight choreography in this movie as well.
I love that scene for one thing. You
That
gotta
Happy
think,
is fighting one dude,
No,
and
who-
he finally beats him,
who
and
directed
she
this
is
movie
beating
though?
the mess out
Do
of
you
him.
know who directed this movie?
I can't remember.
Happy.
Happy.
Really?
So he had to see the script and be like, I beat up one guy and I'm really excited about it.
Yeah.
Oh, y'all for real? Y'all for real?
That was really funny. I like that he's spending the entire time fighting one dude, and
Wrestling.
Black Widow has defeated
he's-
everybody
And
else.
he's the director of
That's-
the
Yeah,
movie.
he's absolutely wrestling people. And
That's
she's
so
just
funny.
she's spy woman wrapping around people.
Beating the mess out of
John
them.
wicking people.
Yeah, John
That's
Wicked
so
people.
good. It's
Does
so
she have
great.
guns? Does she
Yeah,
have
and then
guns?
he's
She
like,
has tasers.
dude,
Taser.
I beat up
Wow.
one
She's putting
person.
it.
She got taser sticks, don't she?
I have a
Nightwing.
question, but for later in Age of Ultron,
Okay,
and it's something to do with Black Widow and in the beginning of the movie.
we'll try not to forget it
Yeah.
because it'll be a little
Well, I was
while.
about to say,
I won't, 'cause
we
it's
got
a
a
question that
Put it in your
I've
notes.
asked
of
me
videos.
forever.
Okay.
So the other thing I really like about this movie is they do explore the damage that the arc reactor is doing on his body. Because I mean, obviously having a reactor in your chest, that's got to cause
Mini
some
nuclear
problems.
reaction.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like
he
that
ain't
they.
getting an oil change on that.
Yeah.
He ain't getting his tires rotated.
He's been pulling it out,
That-
pulling that piece out, putting a new piece in.
That
putting it back.
is something that is a very like a realism kind of deal.
Yes.
Where he is a superhero, yeah, but he's also just a regular guy that
Yes.
has an arc reactor in
In
his
his
chest.
a piece
And-
of shrapnel.
And they
in
touch
his
on
chest.
what is that doing to him?
Yes, I really like that.
Then
They
they could have
discussed.
just skipped over
Yeah, they
that
could've
and like
just-
not talked about it at
That's
all.
like he's got the thing in his chest now. Now he's just awesome. That's it.
Yeah, it's like he got.
I really like that they explore what the suit or what the arc reactor's doing to his body.
Did they ever say what
Did
the
they?
name of the new element was?
I don't think. I'm
For the
assuming he
longest
creates
time,
it
I
or he
thought
gets
it
the
was
name.
vibranium,
I think
but I
everybody
wasn't
did.
sure.
It's not
What?
vibranium.
No.
And then they never said it, and I was like,
In
maybe
the
it's
comics,
not
does he ever
actually.
take out the arc reactor?
I think he does because in the
I don't even know if
movies,
the I don't even know if the arc reactor is inside of his chest in the comic books. I think it might just be part of the suit.
I don't know.
I wish
don't know.
I personally, I wish they would have left that, like, found a way to leave that in his chest, because that would have made him actually Iron Man.
Yeah.
You
That's
know
what
what
Iron
you know
Man
what we
was
should
to
do
me.
at the end of this? Talk about actual comic book heroes or people that you think that would absolutely clap the hero in the movies.
Like villains too powerful for the person
Yeah,
to fight.
that
Yeah.
would just like I'm not talking about like oh yeah Thanos
Goku
whoop
gonna come-
everybody you know.
Oh,
Can he beat
Look,
Goku?
can he
we,
beat
we
Goku?
Can he
could,
beat
we
Goku?
could throw that at the end of something. Well, yeah, we might could do that later on.
Just like normal like Earth level villains
Mhm.
that would absolutely smack down Iron Man.
The ultimate counters.
Yes, and I know exactly who it would be.
So also, I really like that Ivan seems to be kind of a perfect contrast of Tony. He's literally born out of anger and hatred at this point,
And he's just as smart as
he's
Tony.
just as smart as Tony. I mean, he was able to build an arc reactor.
He
just
hacked into
had all that stuff hacked into the military's version of the Mark II
the
suit.
I also think it's funny where they're trying to decode what language it's in, and he's like, "Have you tried Russian?"
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
dude, obviously.
yeah.
And,
So-
and Hammond's like, "Oh, we'll have to get you a firewall key," and he breaks through
He
the
just
firewall
breaks through
in front of him.
immediately. Yeah, that should have been your first red flag that this guy's going to betray
Yeah.
you.
It's like
Hammer.
you pretty much you found this man in a village and gave him all the power he could ever need. What is wrong with you?
Bad idea, man. Bad idea.
You gave a villain
Yeah,
his ultimate power.
Hammer is probably 20 years away.
Yeah. I mean,
More now.
I'm
It's
not
also
saying-
when War Machine says, "I'm gonna hit him with the X-Y," shoots it, just boop,
It
and
beats
Hammer
on-
Tech.
it's so
Hammer Tech.
funny that Tony
That
just says
is-
"Hammer Tech." He's like, "Hammer Tech's like figures."
Mhm.
So then, I
That
also
is funny.
like that they do explore the relationship with Howard Stark. And that's what was so weird is that you see in the you see in Captain America, he seems like a really nice guy. He seems less like Tony of just full of himself. He seems like a pretty good guy.
You can see who Tony gets it from. though.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you see like
It's like
a little
the
bit
apple
in the
didn't
first
fall far
Iron Man
from the
movie of
tree.
they didn't really have a good relationship, and especially in this movie it talks about how my dad didn't even care about me. And
Yeah,
to,
he never said he loved
see,
me, much less he
you
liked
see
me.
in that whenever he watches the clip that Fury gives him of he's just like, Tony, you've got to do this.
Yeah,
you've got to figure this out.
s-
I'm limited by the technology of my time.
You-
'Cause he-
I believe in you.
You
son."
start to see that the only reason Howard was a bad dad is because he tried to save the world with technology he didn't have.
Yes.
He was more worried about he's worried about the same thing Tony is worried about
Yes.
in later movies. He's worried about the threat that's not on the planet.
Yes.
He's worried about the same thing that Nick Fury's trying to make the Avengers for.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's like I said, those would be my favorite parts of the whole movie.
Did you have any parts that you saw that were like awful cuts?
Yeah,
I
you
didn't see any
any
in this
awful.
I
jump
didn't have any
cuts.
bad jump cuts.
I think they have at this point in the timeline they've really cleaned up the camera work.
Yeah.
Like there are not any crazy like how did he get there?
Yes,
Like, jump
There's
Yeah, I
cuts.
was
one in
that.
Endgame that I know about.
Mhm, mhm.
My least favorite part, and it seems to be the only thing that like is that Doc points off of. I feel like they spent a little bit too much time on the drone chase scene, and not enough on the literal final fight with Ivan. Because to me, it felt very much like the ending of Halo 4. Of you do this whole like hour-long mission, and then you hit one button and you've beat the boss of the
Yes.
entire game. That's honestly how it felt. Like they have like 2 minutes of them fighting him, trying to, and then he wraps them both up, and then Tony's just
They
like,
do
"Hey,
the-
yo, Rhodey,"
They do the anime move.
and and that's how they beat him. I felt like that was a little lackluster. I really love that fight. It's good, but I feel like it's a little especially compared to the Ironmonger fight.
That's
That Ironmonger fight lasts a lot longer, and like you said, it felt like the stakes were much
it's more
higher.
it's more of a spectacle. I feel like
yes.
that's one of the reasons that movie is not as good as it could have been. There's
Yes.
not enough going
Final
on. There's,
fight
there's not
scene
enough
there.
going on.
Yes.
Well, there was one thing I was gonna say about the fight scene is I like what they did on this one though. Like we were talking about like in Captain Marvel, the big like fight at the end. It's got like music playing and
Yes.
everything. But like this one, just the sound of the gunshots.
Yes,
Like,
all
it
of that
sounds so good. Like,
it
if you
just-
put music over that, it would ruin
It'd take
it.
away from it.
Yes.
They
But
definitely
just hearing the
increased-
gunshots and, like, the repulsors and everything,
Mhm.
it makes it sound so good.
the cinematography is still
Yeah.
great for this
Mhm.
movie.
Yeah.
They definitely increased their VFX.
Oh,
Like I said,
the
just
budget
the-
had to have
you know,
skyrocketed.
Just like I said, I feel like there wasn't enough going on in that final fight. I feel like it was a little lackluster. Like, it's kind of like, okay, well, I've been watching this movie for 2 hours and this is the payoff. It's like,
Mhm.
the rest of the movie is great, but it's kind of like, it's almost like our 2018 4th of July special of we made it out to be this big spectacle and just it's a
And
very,
nothing
very
happened.
small explosion.
Well,
See,
Just like Hammer Tech.
tell
I
me what the stakes were in that fight.
was
Exactly.
gonna kill
You-
people. That's it. I mean,
It was a revenge plot. That's
Pretty
it.
But,
much.
like, I don't even think Ivan wanted to kill him.
Ivan didn't want to kill anybody but Tony.
but Tony, yeah,
I don't even
everyone
think
else was
Ivan
just
wanted
kinda-
to kill Tony.
He just wanted to prove that he was better than Tony.
yeah. Because even that's the whole thing of whenever he's like beating, he's like, you lose, and then the bomb starts going off. That
Yeah.
the self-destruct sequence he put in all the suits and all of the drones.
I feel, and yeah, that was such a crappy way for him to die too. Like,
yeah, I could
he just
agree
dies
with
in
that.
an explosion.
Yeah, well, he went out on his own terms.
That is true.
I'll give him that. He didn't give Stark the satisfaction. It's like, oh yeah, you're not gonna kill me,
He also
or
might.
I'm not going to jail.
He
You know?
also might have succeeded in what he was trying to do. He was trying to prove that Tony isn't a god.
Yes.
And just a man.
And that
with a
someone
suit.
else could create a suit like that, because that was the whole deal with the like that was his whole argument against the military taking his suits, is that no one, like, you're
No
looking
one
at
else can
5
make
to 10
it.
years before someone else gets this level to even produce the Mark 1, let alone where I'm at. Then
Tony-
Ivan shows up like 3 days after that and wrecks his crowd.
Yeah, what Obadiah says, Tony built this in a cave.
yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of
That's-
just the cave one kind of just was a metal juggernaut suit,
But
Yeah.
with a
still,
flamethrower.
it still
I mean, it worked.
has power.
It got
had
him
a
out of it.
jetpack.
It had a jet. Yeah, that's what I was shocked at. I didn't know that he was going to fly off in it.
He strapped a little missile
Yeah.
rockets to the bottom of his feet.
He was ready to strap and clap them guys.
Yes. So, like I said, that's the main part that I really didn't like. That was my least favorite part. Was definitely the. I felt like that final fight was a little lackluster. That's about the main thing.
I feel like they could have amped up the stakes a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
make Ivan more of a villain. Like, what else does he want to do after he kills Tony?
I mean, there really wasn't anything he wanted to do after he killed Tony. It was just kind of like,
He just wanted revenge on Tony.
he wanted to prove that his dad had something more.
Yeah, I felt like it was just more of like not even that he wanted to kill Tony. It was just like, I just want to prove to you that what you've made isn't as special as you think it is.
Yes.
Everybody can make this.
Ivan also only killed like 2 other people. He has only killed 2 people in the entire movie. Those 2 security guards that he hung. That was it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Maybe indirectly a couple more.
How? What do you do?
At
Whenever the
exploding,
drones
I guess,
explode,
with the
yeah.
drones, I would say,
No, because the only one that wasn't in that circle was the one that was near Pepper,
and he saves
and he saves her.
Pepper from it. We're talking about like collateral damage, though, like
Yeah.
perhaps that.
But if
Yeah.
you can't tell me them drones flying around didn't like
The
break
drones like
windows
smashing the
or-
glass.
You're
That
right,
glass
you're
falling
right.
Yeah,
down.
yes.
I
Had
think you
to.
take a little bit of offense to security guards being too lucky for me to happen.
But yeah, I felt like Ivan, like, he didn't want, his goal wasn't to kill people. It was just like to prove.
Yeah, it
your
was just
suit
it was just
isn't
a
that
beef with
fancy.
Tony. I mean, it was a family beef.
It was
pretty
a
much.
revenge plot.
Yeah.
That's,
I might would take off a little bit of points for that. Of just it's a revenge plot,
And
but
it,
to
like,
me it's a good revenge plot. It's
villain
not
motivation.
that's not a bad one.
It's not a bad plot, but to follow up Iron Man 1,
It's very
It's-
difficult. I think that's why.
it's a
Like
little bit
it got
of
I gave it a 52 out of 60. Is the rating on the first Iron Man movie? That's how much I like it, and that has been my favorite movie so
Iron
far.
Man 1 is a great
So
movie.
Iron
it is really
Man
good.
2 to follow up, it's a hard act to follow.
Iron
if
Man
I'm being
1 was
honest.
also the first one that released.
Yes,
So it's a good
and it
movie.
really set the bar high.
It's
too.
a
I was gonna
solid
say, it's-
movie.
It's such a good movie.
Even look like we said.
Iron Man was the first one to come out, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's what
Yes,
I said. It's the
first
first one. And Iron Man 2 is not a bad movie. It's fun.
It's just a little lacking. Just a little
it's
lacking.
just I will say it's definitely hard to follow up.
I think
it
it suffers from the classic
sequel problem
where the stakes aren't as high.
Yeah, and the sequel's never as good as the first one, unless you're Terminator or Jeepers Creepers, pretty much.
Another one of the big problems is that Iron Man doesn't have like a super definite like big bad villain.
That is
true.
He like
when you think like Spider-Man, you think like Venom.
Yeah,
and
like Thor's always got Loki.
Thor and Loki
across from him.
It just doesn't.
Captain America always has. I'm assuming always has the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, I think the only one that he has in the comic books is the Mandarin, and I think that's like the only big bad that he fights.
Right,
I think so too.
So
that's for
the only super big threats Tony ever faces is when he's with the others.
Also,
is Loki and Ultron, right?
What?
You said when he's one of the others.
I said when he's with the other Avengers.
Yeah,
is only
it's Loki and Ultron, right?
I forgot about
those. Are the only two.
And Thanos.
And Thanos, yeah, well, of course,
I'm
Thanos.
thinking like other ones, but like I can't even think.
Dude, I can't wait for this to get game.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited to get there.
Like I think that a lot of Marvel movies they blew their load on it way too fast.
Mm-hmm.
Like for whenever they eventually get to Ultron and Thanos down the line, they should have expanded their universe to a bigger, wider range so that they could have had more stuff like that first.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Like instead, like they went from this like Iron Man, and then they did Captain America, and then like Avengers Assemble, and they didn't even tell the story about the other people.
And that's kind of what me and Sims talked about is that if these movies had came out in the order that they take place, it would have made it better.
Here's the thing about that though: would the audience have been along for the ride as long as they would have if there wasn't
the first Avengers movie?
If there wouldn't have been an intermission where there's these new people you don't know about yet, but here the team has assembled.
Yeah.
We'll get to them after this movie.
I could see that.
But here's them all together. Look.
Yeah. I could see that.
The first Avengers one makes sense from like a economic standpoint of wanting to further their movies, but after that movie blew up and like it wasn't like a huge like box office hit.
It was a box office hit, I would say. Yeah. Definitely Infinity War and Endgame were, that's for sure.
Definitely.
Like there are so many people in the Avengers Infinity Gauntlet saga that are just not in the movie.
Yeah.
Like
which that's one of those things like DC, you can't include everybody.
What are your expectations for the future? I will say
for like the next Iron Man movie, right? Or
you know what's happening in the next Iron Man movie. You've seen that one. What do you think MCU in general, what do you think is gonna happen?
Because from the post credit scene say, I gotta go to New Mexico.
And also originally I thought that was gonna be for the Hulk movie. But whenever you watch the post credit scene, they find Mjolnir.
I'll pause you on
they find Jonathan.
Some people are probably gonna have a problem with how we release these videos because Hulk happens at the same time as Iron Man 1 and Iron Man 2.
We're gonna watch Iron Man.
So
the Hulk's coming next. So
it really just depends on how you're looking at the timeline. If you want to say Hulk comes between Iron Man and Iron Man 2, or
I think the one you sent me, Hulk, is after.
Yes,
so
but the one
Hulk with
the Incredible Hulk with
Edward Norton.
Edward Norton.
Chase does not look happy about that one.
It's not good.
I just want to see my boy Lou Ferrigno throw around some people.
Yeah.
Anyway,
obviously, I would think that the next movie would center around Thor. I believe would be, according to the post-credit scene, that's what I would expect to happen next. So, that's not the next movie we're watching, but
Thor is the next one they're introducing.
Yes, I would think that that's what's next as we move to Thor's story.
So, do you have any predictions for Of course, you've seen Iron Man 3, so I guess is your prediction what you've seen in Iron Man 3?
Exactly. I'm not gonna lie. I don't remember anything from Iron Man 3. I don't remember the storyline at all. I just remember him jumping from suit to suit, and I'm really excited to see that again in that final fight of him literally just jumping between.
That
suits.
is really cool.
That's a really
one of my
great
favorite scenes.
There's one suit in there that's like this big old bulky Iron Man that he has to fight at the end, and I wish he would have used that suit more.
Mm-hmm.
Is that supposed to be the Hulkbuster suit?
No.
Okay, that comes on later.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
The Hulkbuster
It's-
suit is
It's-
massive.
I've seen pictures
It's
of
not
it.
as big as the Hulkbuster, but
it's like an in between.
For
I got you.
for them to send the Hulkbuster suit to him, it's literally sitting in a satellite.
Yeah,
That's your spoiler for that.
Yeah, it's
Ooh,
crazy.
Okay, all right. Well,
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
we'll draw
And-
we'll bring that
and
back in
that's-
for a little bit.
That's
Whenever we get to
in-
Age of Ultron.
No, it happens in the
I
first
can't
one.
wait.
No.
To talk about.
No?
No, it's Age of Ultron.
It's Age of Ultron.
Dang, that one's a little ways from now.
All right.
But
So
you'll love that scene.
okay, all right. I'm excited.
Yeah.
That gets, like I said, I'm excited for the first Avengers movie. I'm really ready to
You've
get
probably
there.
seen the meme, but it's him like jackhammering Hulk
Yes.
in the face. Go to sleep. Go to sleep.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, yeah. All right, so we're ready to move into the rating.
Yeah.
All right.
Unless you got any
Anything else?
questions.
I don't know.
I think
Anything
I never
else?
get.
Yeah, that's pretty. What are the expectations? What do I expect next? Or anything like that? We got
Or
that.
is after watching this one, are you still excited to like see
Yeah.
more?
Yes.
Does it
Okay.
hype you up more?
Absolutely. Yes.
If we weren't doing this for YouTube,
Would
would
you
you
watch
still
them
want
all?
to watch?
Oh yeah,
the rest
I'd
of
want
them?
to keep going. I might would have taken a break, kind of like we've been doing right now. It's been a little while since I've seen it's been
Yeah.
probably a week or two since we watched Iron Man 2. But I would not. It has been a week, yes. So I might would take a little bit of a break, but like I've already done. But yes, I'm excited to I'm ready to see the next. I really want to see Thor, but we're gonna watch the Incredible Hulk.
The
next.
Incredible Hulk movie's good.
Yeah, I vaguely remember watching it as a kid, but I can't remember.
This is the entire reason I wanted you to even watch them to begin with.
Yes.
'Cause I knew you'd want to watch them all
Yes.
after you started
Yeah.
to watch the first 2 or 3.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things of like, once you start it,
You can't
there are
stop.
some bumps, but like,
But it's
you
a
just gotta
good
keep
road,
going.
man.
So I'm really excited.
Before we get into the rating, let's hear you guys' ratings in the comments.
What are your guys' favorite part? What are your guys' least
Dude,
favorite
It
part?
takes 5 seconds to scroll down, click comments, and type anything.
Yes.
Whatever you want.
Not
Type
whatever
your
you
favorite.
want.
Also, give us your
Don't
rating
type whatever
based
you
off of
want.
these
Call us
these
ugly.
6 categories.
Stop
So,
telling people to call us ugly.
first up, we've got cinematography. I would definitely have to give it a 9 in cinematography. Like I said, it does not quite hold up as well as the first movie because I gave the first movie a 10 on cinematography.
Okay, yeah.
I still think the cinematography is great. I think all the shots are beautiful. I'm just giving it a little bit lower because, like I said, it's not quite as good. So I'm going to give it a 9.
I get that. I think the shots are nice. The
Yes.
angles are good. The lighting is great. The editing is fine.
Yes.
I will
would do
say,
that.
in comparison, this one, well, like, no, that was more plot. We were talking about, like, how it jumped around. Like,
Well,
this
we're
one,
moving-
this
we're
one
moving
did
into
jump
plot.
around.
Plot, I'm going to be a little controversial here. I'm going to give it a 6 because, like we were discussing, I feel like there were not as high stakes in this one.
I don't think this one was as gripping as
Yes.
the first one.
Like I said, there were really no stakes. It seemed a little... Just the build-up was a little lackluster, I feel like.
This one has been the first one in 2 movies, though. The good guy isn't the bad guy.
Yeah, I like that, finally.
So,
Yeah,
you
like
got- you
that's
got your wish.
that's why I didn't
You
give it
got
a
your
5.
wish.
But yeah, that was my problem with the last 2 movies. It's like, oh, the good guy's actually the bad guy. That was my kind of
But
deal.
what was I gonna say?
that cliche.
I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, it doesn't feel like the stakes are as high. It doesn't feel as gripping.
So, I mean,
And
Tony
it's
didn't go
just-
through a life-changing event and immediately just do a 180 in his life. I feel like it is a little plot. I got to give it a 6. Easy to follow.
Another thing, it feels like a movie that you kind of just feel obligated to watch. It
Yes.
feels like a homework movie.
I feel that. Yeah.
Like you watch the first one, you gotta
And you love
watch
it.
the second one
Yeah.
because you're not gonna know what's gonna happen in the third one if
Yeah.
you don't watch the second one.
Yeah.
It feels like
Yeah.
a movie you kind of just sit through. Like
This feels like a filler movie.
it feels like a filler movie.
I would agree with that.
It's a filler episode in Tony Stark's life.
I feel that. I would agree with that.
It's a movie. It's a movie to show his progress about what he's been doing.
So as I said, plot with 6. I think that fits perfectly.
I think the 2 main points of that movie that are necessary for the rest are him building the suitcase and him finding the new element.
Yes,
That's
I
it.
would say that.
Also, his improvisation.
Yeah, his improvisational
in between his
skills.
suits.
Yeah.
But other than that, the villain doesn't matter. Never
Yeah.
mentions him again.
I mean, Whiplash is dead now. Yeah.
He's dead. That's it.
Yeah.
He's never
So-
mentioned again.
For
Rhodey
now.
also gets the War Machine suit.
Yeah,
I
the
can
War
see
Machine
that.
too.
The War Machine suit.
Yeah.
major plot point there.
Easy to follow. I'm still gonna give it an 8 because, like I said, it's a straightforward
I feel
plot.
like it's pretty.
You might
easy
would
to
get a little
follow.
confused. I would say you would get a little confused about the relationship between Tony and Ivan because like when you first come in, it's like, okay, well, who is this guy? That's doing like what's up with this random dying man? You know,
I don't think it's ever mentioned like verbatim, word for word, that Ivan helped Howard make the first arc.
Ivan's dad.
Ivan's dad. It's just on that blueprint.
It is. Fury
is
mentions it.
mentioned.
Fury mentions it.
Well,
Because Fury says that Howard wanted to build it to help people, whereas Ivan's dad wanted to build it for profit.
yeah, they
Like
say
that
like
was-
Anton.
Okay.
Yes.
They say no. It's whenever Agent Coulson is talking to.
It's him or Fury 1.
It's
That-
either
that
Agent
explain-
Coulson
I think
or
it's
Fury.
Fury.
They're talking to it's Fury, and he's talking to Tony whenever he's like bringing him the case, and he's like, "Yeah, so that guy you're fighting, his dad is Anton. Anton worked with your dad to build the arc reactor.
Yeah.
Anton wanted to make money, and your dad wanted to make like the world safer."
Yes.
Okay.
The next category I gave it, we finally came up. The next category is going to be a revolving category that changes for each movie.
Okay.
So this one would be for all the origin movies. Was this a good origin movie?
Yeah.
for
Okay.
them?
Yeah.
This one is going to be, is this a good follow-up movie
Okay.
to this? And then
that's a good idea.
or good follow-up or a good continuation, basically.
Yeah.
So is Iron Man 2 a good follow-up / continuation of the series? I would say it is, because like we said, there's a small little revenge plot in there. Like you said, it's kind of a filler, and it's like the only important thing. It's kind of like in, not canon to Dragon Ball, but Dragon Ball GT when Goku goes to get Super Saiyan 4. It's like the only important thing is that he gets his tail and so he can go Super Saiyan 4. You don't care about the filler part.
This is what I'll say about it. It is a good follow-up movie, but it because it touches on so many things that are important later.
Yes.
The plot is fine, but it is a good follow-up movie because Tony learns so many things in this movie
Yes.
that help so much way later
Yes.
down the line.
I agree. So for that, I would say for a good follow-up, I'd give it a 7.
Okay.
I'm going to give it a 7. I think that's fair. I mean, what do you guys think? What's the consensus of the table?
I agree.
That's what I'm sticking with, but I just want to see how the rest of the table feels.
I'd say I'd probably do like a 6 or 5.
Yeah, I think 6 or 5 would be more closer for
Just
me.
because it wasn't as enthralling as it
Yes.
could have been.
It definitely felt a lot when I remember watching it back in the day. It felt like it was a little bit more all over the place.
Right, and I would agree with that. It
previous
does feel a little
It feels like a chore
yes,
more than it feels like a movie.
kind of like the Captain Marvel movie. It felt a little bit more like
it's
a
like
chore,
one of
but I
those
still like
movies
that movie.
where you turn on the background not to really watch, but like if you turn on Iron Man 1, you
You're
want
gonna
to
watch
watch
it,
it.
yes.
Yeah.
I definitely felt that as I was watching.
It's one of those, like, you got the entire Marvel lineup to watch. Are you going to watch Iron Man 2?
No, obviously not.
Probably
No.
not.
No, that's not your first choice.
Yeah, it's like Guardians of the Galaxy is where I go to every time.
Yeah.
It's like if I want to watch again, Guardians.
So moving on to realism. I'm trying to think what
I think, personally, it's pretty high on the realism scale.
I would say so because
except for him like making a
I would say him building a super collider
him building
in his
a
house
super collider
is a bit.
But
But like another thing is, whenever he's in the Senate, he's like pulling out his phone, playing on it.
You wouldn't be doing
for
that.
like 5
And he's-
minutes
and he
before
hacks
someone's like,
into-
"What are you doing?"
and
Homie, he's been on his phone for 5
and he
minutes.
hacks
Why does it
into
matter
like
now?
their like surveillance thing to show them Justin Hammer trying to build that suit and everything.
Nah, that's pure brains from him. I would say
No,
he
like,
did.
The
I
way
just
some
think it's
of
fun.
our political people be. That does seem
And
pretty relatable.
that seems very
Iron hacked into his
realistic.
system within 5 minutes
Yes.
of working on this computer. I feel like Iron Man easily getting.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's the only issue.
But
I
I
have
just think
with
it's
it.
funny that he's like playing on his phone for 5 minutes before somebody asks him what he's
Yes,
doing. Like,
yes.
you didn't ask him as soon as he pulled out his phone.
But the only reason I'd rank it high, or one of the reasons I'd rank it high in realism, is because you see what is happening to Tony
Yes.
because of the arc reactor. Like
Yes.
you see what it's
The effects on
poisoning
his body.
him.
Yes,
You
the
see
poisoning.
what it would do to him, It's a very realistic, like, this foreign object is in your body. Your body's trying to
Yeah,
fight
your
it.
body's rejecting it, basically. Yeah,
Your body's rejecting this arc reactor.
you're basically giving yourself cancer.
Yeah,
in a
you
sense.
are killing yourself and trying to save yourself.
Yes.
I will say there's just as many parts in this one that I was like, that could be real, as like
Yes.
parts I was like, dude,
The-
I mean, that makes no sense.
The way Ivan's Mark One whip thing works seems pretty realistic.
Mm.
Like it looks like it's not any like crazy sci-fi material. It's just an arc reactor on a backpack with two
Yeah.
whips. It's like he's made a backpack whip.
Yeah.
Is all he's made.
He's essentially taking a power line.
Yeah, he's
It's
put a
not
power
wearing
line and he's
Yes.
whipping people.
He's
with
got
it.
a transformer on his back.
That's pretty cool.
Two power lines.
I think
That's pretty
I
cool.
think his Mark One suit is more realistic
But-
than Tony's Mark One suit.
I would agree
in
with that.
the end, it shows multiple times there's water on the ground. How is that thing not just gliding up everything?
I don't
Yeah,
know.
I could see that. Realism.
Rubber boots. He
I
got
think-
little rubber booties on. He's
I think an
a
8.
later man.
Is he barefoot? Because he's barefoot.
He is
in
barefoot
both
on.
scenes.
Yeah, he is barefoot on the
So
on the
wouldn't be
racetrack.
surprised. if-
Maybe he
Oh,
did-
man.
maybe-
Barefoot on the racetrack.
Yeah,
I forgot
he's
about
barefoot
that.
on
Yeah.
That's asphalt, man. That's
Maybe-
like rough asphalt.
And
maybe
And it's
he,
in the sun.
yeah, it's in Italy.
maybe he does have some kind of like rubber
Insulation. You would
insulation.
hope-
I
I'm
would
sure
think.
he's
got
insulated.
to.
You would hope he
That
has.
man just got.
I don't know.
That man,
Because whenever he has it on, it burns off.
That
his,
man
like,
just
track
did
attendant.
That I really like that too.
That is
That's
pretty
a
cool.
great. Like I said, that goes more towards cinematography.
I was
but that
about
is-
to mention that.
That's
That
a
is
really
a
good
cool
scene,
scene.
The-
of it burning off. Like I was like,
him,
oh
him
man,
whipping out the whips and burning off his
tracksuit.
his jail suit.
Yeah.
Is an amazing scene.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
I think for realism, I give
Not
it
his
an
jail
8.
suit. His tracksuit.
I'd give it an 8.
Yeah,
You guys think
yeah,
that's fair?
definitely,
That
yeah.
sounds pretty good.
He'll figure out.
Maybe
another thing.
instead of the accuracy on the other one, we do villains. For their main villain.
Your villain accuracy.
Villain.
I like that. I think
Yeah.
that's good. So for villain accuracy,
What do you think?
or when you
Once
say
again, I don't know much about Whiplash, but he is in the comic books. He's not
But
that big
he's
of a
not
character.
Marvel Snap, so.
I was about to say, do you want to do like or just like a
Uh-huh.
villain in general, of like villain accuracy, or just villain in general?
Maybe
Of what's
just-
a good
maybe
villain?
just, yeah.
I think let's do that for
Maybe
the follow-up
just like-
movies. Let's just do a villain for that. So
So
I
how,
think-
how good the villain is.
yeah, I would say.
I think Ivan's a great villain.
I think he's really. I
I
think he's a
think-
good contrast to Tony Stark. Absolutely.
I feel like he's one of the first villains, and you'll see this like later on. That like his goal isn't to kill people.
Yeah,
It's to
I like that. That
To
he's not
prove
trying to.
Tony.
yeah, it's
like,
prove to Tony that
your
he.
suit isn't that cool, man.
I think that.
I
He's a very
like
good villain.
I like his motivation. He's
I
smart.
like how we're
he's
like-
capable.
Yeah.
Yeah, this bad guy, 100%. I'm
I,
with him.
I can
Yeah.
definitely see him
Like,
being the Tony Stark of like Justice League has Legion of Doom. I could definitely
He-
see him being their Tony
He
Stark.
definitely feels like if Tony
was evil.
was evil,
This is what he
this
would do.
is what would happen.
Yeah.
It's like if it was
They even
flipped-
look similar.
if
too.
it was flipped the other
Mhm.
way, and Howard was the guy that got shunned and
Yeah.
all this, Tony would have been Ivan.
Yeah.
Tony would have
I
made a renegade
I
suit.
definitely think it's one of those deals of they're two different sides of the same coin. They're the yin and yang
Mhm.
of one another. So
they are great contrasts of each other.
I think that's perfect.
They are intellectual equals. They both have the mechanical skills to make something that is compliant with the other person.
yes.
They are good matches.
I think I got to give him a 10. I
Yeah.
think he is a
I like Ivan as a villain.
final rating. Just had to do quick little maths right now.
The drum roll.
The final rating for Iron Man 2 is 48 out of 60, which
bad.
is still higher than the other two movies. Iron Man is 52 out of 60. Iron Man 2 is 48 out of 60. One of the, I think, Captain Marvel was 42, and Captain America was 47, I think.
Comic book accuracy on the Captain Marvel would have been solid. For
Hey, I
me.
gave it a 3.
Yeah.
Hey, that's close
we're
enough.
close.
Look, I think the Iron Man movies are just better in general because Iron Man is a funner protagonist.
I think that's exactly how it would be.
Robert Downey
But,
It's more fun to
but I
watch.
will say, the next Iron Man movie, I would say worse than this because it's super hard to follow.
Man,
it
is
jumps around so
man,
much.
is it hard to
I'm
find.
not
It's
trying
been
to
a hot
spoil
minute since
that,
I've seen it,
but
so
like
I can't
Iron Man
say.
3 is gonna go down, and Captain Captain America is going. Like, Captain America gets better in my opinion.
All right, so that's it for the rating. That's it for the Iron Man 2 video. Thank you guys for watching. Please follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter. Links in the description below.
Incredible Hulk is next.
Yeah,
The
I'm
Incredible Hulk will be next.
constantly posting on Instagram and Twitter. If you want to get a sneak peek, watch our trailers to our videos.
Please.
The trailer for the last podcast, 13, whatever number. No,
13, 18.
jeez.
And then 19 will be
18.
before this. 19 will be before this, though.
The trailer for 18 was incredible. It's on Twitter. If you're wanting sneak peeks for videos, follow us on Twitter.
Follow us on Instagram as well for that.
And
Please comment down below your rating for on these in these categories for Iron Man 2, and comment your favorite part and your least favorite part. Thank you guys so much for watching. Click the subscribe button.
He had something to say.
And also,
I know what he's gonna
hit
say.
that little bell.
Thanks for watching, guys. See you later.